أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. After a break, how is everybody doing? You good? How was the Eid? Eid was fine. What did you do? I want to know, what did you do on Eid? I really want to know that because yeah, we had nice Eid. I went to my brother's, lives close by in the next city. So it was very nice. I mean, alhamdulillah, Eid was very well. It was good weather as well. Yes, it was very good weather, and mashallah, things were pretty nice, alhamdulillah. And after Ramadan, it felt like it's really a festival because there was so much happening in the masjid. There was so much happening. There was a lot of events happening around. We didn't go much in the events though, but I think the Eid was very fine. So we really enjoyed it. Kids enjoyed it. Today, even I'm going in a Eid celebration today and tomorrow as well. So that's something that was planned after the Eid. So we could just spend some time with family during the Eid time, and then after Eid we can just get together as community and friends and do with most of. Walaikum assalam, Imran. How are you doing? How was the Eid? Everything okay? Good to be back after a while. I hope you all got a very good break. You got a nice break, inshallah. Yeah, so I think we closed the class last time on a very good note, in a sense that we completed the 4 properties of ism. So today we can start something fresh, something new, that brings everything together, inshallah. So that's the plan. So we will start something completely new and fresh, and learn something which is beyond just the 4 properties. We'll make use of those 4 properties though. So that was a good thing. So yes, Eid was nice. Alhamdulillah, Imran. So mine was very good as well. So Eid was very good. Eid was very good. So I'm just giving few more minutes to for other students to join. So before we start the class, inshallah. So how many of you managed to give some time to the exercises? Did you manage to do the exercises that we discussed last time before we closed the class? At least attempted it. So if you have attempted it, that's great. If you have not attempted it, it's better if you attempt it because it will help you. It will really help you, and it will. Good. That's good, Imran. Thank you, Jazakallah. So it will really help you. And if there are any questions, we can touch upon them a little bit here. If there are any words which are challenging, so we can touch today, inshallah, and then take it from there. Okay. So what I plan to do today is very quickly summarize of what we have learned. Very quickly summarize it, and then start learning something new. We'll start learning the fragments today. Fragments is more about bringing more words together. So if you remember the study I told you about in the beginning of the classes, the study of Nahu, that is about the study of words and their relationship, how they come together. This is what we are doing, and first step was to understand the ism. Understand the ism, the 4 properties. And now we have understood the 4 properties, we can start to bring other isms together. And that's where things go interesting. And inshallah, when we have done with it, we're done with ism, we'll start with the fi'ls. Harfs will keep on coming here and there. Inshallah. Okay. So inshallah, let's start the class. And I will share my screen as always. And we will kick off a review of what we have done in the first 10 minutes or so, and then we'll start with the new topic, inshallah. If there are any questions, please feel free to ask, and I will be happy to answer those questions. So you should be able to see my screen in a bit, inshallah. So as always, I have my broadcast in front of me, so I can get a good indication if you're what you're looking at. So if you're looking at my screen, then I can see that as well. So with me, it's working now. I hope you can also see the screen. So if you join the class at a later stage, if it's better if you just say hello or assalamu alaikum, so we know that you're there. Inshallah. Okay. Good. Excellent. So let's start with the summary. The summary of what we have learned so far. So I think we don't have to go very, very comprehensive here. So I'll just be very quick, inshallah. So what we have done is we are doing the study of ism. We're doing the study of ism, right? Study of ism. And in the study of ism, we have done forms, the 4 properties of ism. We have done 4 properties of an ism. 4 properties. And while we were doing the 4 properties, we did we did pick up on these 4 properties, which were status, number, gender, and type. Okay. And in status, we did forms of status, which is effectively saying rafa, nasab, and jar. Okay. Rafa, nasab, and jar. These are forms of status. Then we said how to tell status. How to tell status. Okay. In this case, we did the Muslim chart. We did the ending combinations and ending sounds. Ending sounds and ending combinations. These are the things we did. Yes. Yes, Imran. Status, number, gender, type. Okay, so we did how to tell, and as part of that exercise, we did when we were doing the how to tell status, we did also Muslim charts, Muslim and Muslimatun charts. Okay, 2 charts. The 2 charts we did. Okay, and after that we jumped into the topic of flexibility. No, before flexibility, we did light versus heavy, isn't it? Light versus heavy isms. Light versus heavy isms, and then we did flexibility. In flexibility, we said ism can be of 3 flexible forms. One is fully flexible, then there is non-flexible, and then there is partly flexible. Okay. This is what we said. Okay. Then after flexibility, we jumped onto the number. Number is about singulars, singular and pair and plural. Parts of the first two we did in the Muslim charts, right? We touched upon in Muslim charts, right? Singular as well as the pair. We did all of that in the Muslim chart already when we were doing the how to tell, the Muslimatun and Muslim chart, right? Then we jumped onto the plural. In plurals, we said there are 2 types of plural. As soon as you see the plural, you should categorize it as a human plural, and as a non-human plural. Right? So when it is a non-human plural, you would just go and simply assign it singular feminine. Right? Singular feminine. The number and the gender is assigned singular feminine in case of non-human plural. Right? And then in case of plural, in case of human plural, we have 2 types. We have normal plural. We have a broken plural. The normal plural is the one that maps to the Muslim chart, and it's human, of course. The ones that maps to the Muslim chart, but it's not human, falls under the non-human plural. Okay, it's not a human plural. So So most the ones that maps to the Muslim chart, Muslim or Muslimatun chart, Muslimatun chart. Okay, the maps to the Muslim or Muslimatun chart. Okay, these are the normal plurals. Okay, in this case, you would just assign them as per the Muslim chart. If they're mapping to the masculine Muslim chart, you assign them the masculine. If they are mapping to the feminine Muslim chart, you assign them the feminine gender, right? But the broken plural, in case of broken plural, there are two possibilities. One, you either assign them singular feminine, just like the non-human plural. Either assign the singular feminine, just like non-human plurals, or you go and assign them as what they are, effectively. As what they are, okay? As they are, or as per translation, right? We also said that we won't be able to identify broken plural today because we don't have the vocabulary. For broken plural, we need the vocabulary, so we take it. We take help from the translation. Let me small, sure, it's smaller. We have to take help from the vocabulary to identify a broken plural. So today we live with vocabulary. Broken plurals look quite similar to singulars, right? Broken plurals look quite similar to singulars. But we look at the translations and then we know it's a broken plural. And then we assign the gender and the number accordingly. Okay? Then we went on to the study of gender. In gender, we said by default, what is the default gender of an ism? By default, an ism is considered a masculine, isn't it? By default, an ism is considered a masculine. Okay? Unless proven feminine. That's one thing we did. Then we said that gender can be categorized into two ways. There could be a fake feminine, or it could be real feminine. Let's say real first, real feminine. And there could be fake feminine. Okay? Real feminines. What are real feminines? Real feminines are the biological feminines, right? They're just real. There's no reason to call them masculine. There's no reason to call them masculine. And we did some examples. We said, for example, ummun. Ummun is mother. We said ukhtun, for example. Ukhtun is sister. Okay? So these are, or bakaratun. We said bakaratun. 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 So this is a cow. So these are biological feminines. There's no reason to call them masculine. Okay. So we will never ever assign them a masculine gender. They're always feminine. Now they are fake feminines. They're fake feminines. Now fake feminines are the ones that may not necessarily be biologically feminine. Right? They may not necessarily be biologically feminine, but we assign them feminine gender because of the grammatical rules. Because of the grammatical rules. And we did almost approximately 5 of those, roughly speaking. We said the words, ending with a ta marbuta, or the words ending with alif maksura, and in some cases the words ending with alif mad and hamza are feminines. Okay, but we did an exception here. We said there are few names, like for example, like Isa. Okay, so now this name ends up in alif maksura. But would we assign it a feminine gender? No, because we know this is a biological male. This is biologically masculine. There's, you just can't assign a biological masculine a feminine because of the grammatical rule here. Okay, so same story with, for example, Hamza. Same story with Hamza. Now Hamza is a name of a man, right? We won't assign it feminine because it's biological masculine. Yes, Musa as well, Imran. That's good. Musa. Yes. Musa. This is biological masculine. We won't assign it feminine. So when you see words ending with ta marbuta, alif maksura, or hamza alif, mad alif, just make sure it's a biological. It's not a biological masculine. Okay, so they will, if something is non-human, it is anyway a feminine. Okay, and it's ending. If you don't know for sure, look at the translation before you assign the gender, right? Just to make sure, because all these words, you can just blindly assign feminine, but they would be wrong. You cannot just say Isa is a feminine. Okay. Excellent. Okay, good. So after that, what was the other tip? We said all broken plurals and non-human plurals are feminine. These are fake feminines. Okay, the fake feminines. They are assigned feminine genders. Okay. Then we said proper names of places. We said proper names of places. For example, we did an example of Makkah. Makkah. Okay. Makkah. Proper names of places. Okay. Then we said body parts in pairs. Okay. We said body parts in pairs, and we did some examples of body part in pair. For example, Ainun, Rijulun. We'll take help from the translation. Don't have to memorize it right now. So take help from the translation, inshallah. Or Pakistan as well, Imran, that's correct. So also a proper name of places. Okay. And the last one was because the Arabs said so. The bats. Okay. The bats, because the Arabs said so. Words that are just called feminine because that's what we have been told. There's no grammatical reason. And we did a story. We did a story in which we identified some words which were feminine. Right? We did the story. The story is in your notes. Then we moved on to the type. Type. Now, type tells you if the ism is a proper or common. If ism is proper or common, it is a study of common versus the proper. Common versus the proper. Okay? In Arabic, just to give you some terminology, you may find it here and there. So nakira is called common. Okay? I don't expect you to memorize this right now. I'm just giving that to you. Okay? Nakira. If an ism is nakira, it means it's common. If an ism is nakira, it's common. If an ism is ma'arifa, then it's proper. Okay. Ma'arifa. Then it's proper. Okay, just to give you some terminology. Don't worry about it if you cannot remember it. It's fine. Okay. Now, by default, the type of ism is common. Very good, Imran. The type of ism is common. By default, the type of ism is common unless proven proper. And there are tips that you can use to identify if an ism is proper or not. Tips to identify if an ism is proper. And we did, I think, 7 of those. We did 7 of those tips to identify if an ism is proper. Okay, so the first one was words with al. Words with al are always proper. Okay, the words with al are always proper. When I say words with al, this is the al that is specially attached to a word, but that word could also live without it. For example, al masjid, right? But al-lazina, for example, al-lazina is a word that cannot live without al. It's not an al specially attached to it. It is just part of it, right? That's not the al we're talking about, right? But just so you know, so it's the words that start with an al. These are all proper ism. Then of course, proper names are proper. Proper names are proper, regardless of places or people. Proper names are proper. Then we said the one being called is always proper. The one being called, which is the monada, and we did some examples like Ya Muhammad, Ya Muhammad. Okay, Ya Muhammad. And keep it common. It must be proper. Okay, they usually all the time proper. Then pronouns that we have not done yet. Pronouns are proper. Pronouns are proper. We have not done that. Okay, tell someone do it, inshallah. Pointer words are proper. We have not done them yet. Don't worry about them too much right now. Okay? When they are coming, I will tell you this is a pointer word or this is a pronoun. Okay. Then, then excuse me. Then it's a mawsoof. It's a mawsoof. We have not done it yet. Allazi, allati, allazan, and ma, man, and so on. But we will inshallah do them later on. So we have just touched upon them. We've touched upon them, and inshallah we'll do them in detail later on. Okay. And the last one was the word before of. The word before of if the word after of is proper. Okay. The word before of if the word after of is proper. Okay, so these are the 7 tips we did, and these are the overall 4 properties of ism: status, number, gender, type, everything. We have covered that in the first 8 classes. We've covered that in the first 8 classes. Okay. Any questions on this? Anything? Are we comfortable with this? If we are comfortable with this, then that's great. If you manage to do the exercise that I asked you, you should be fine. You should be fine, inshallah. So if you want to check anything in the exercise, is there any specific word that troubled you on this exercise? Okay, on your page number, on your page number 17. Is there any specific word that troubled you on this page? If you want to ask, you can ask here, and inshallah do it. Okay? If there's any specific ones, I've seen few examples from people doing marquesina a bit differently. Let me just pick up on this one, marquesina. Now I've seen people doing marquesina as follows. So what they have been doing is, what I've seen is that you have taken marquesina and you've said ma is a separate word. You said ma is a separate word, okay? And because it's one of the ism mawsools that we have been told, this is proper. This is proper, okay? But you've separated ma and the kisina. So that's what I've seen in few examples, okay? this is wrong, this is not right, this is not right. Okay. All of these things in this exercise are given to you as word. These are full-blown words. This is just one word. Ma Kisina is just one word. These are not multiple words. It's one word. You have to do it together as a single word. Okay? Together as a single word. I'll pick up on 41, Imran, in a second. Okay? So this is ina ending. This is ina ending. This could be this could be nasab or jar. Nasab or jar, right? And what would be this is the status. Number would be plural because it's mapping to the Muslim chart, Muslimina. Okay, and then it's going to be status number. Gender is going to be masculine because it maps to the masculine Muslim chart, and then type is going to be common. Common. It's not proper because of this ma. It's not proper. Don't make that mistake. Don't try to separate the words forcefully. These are all single words, okay, in this exercise. So 41, you're saying. 41, 41, 41. 41, okay. Al-Husna. Okay. So, Imran, in your opinion, what is it? Is it nasab, plural, masculine, common? Okay. Now, let's do it slowly, slowly. Okay. Now, as soon as I see this, I need to find the status. First, status, number, gender, type. In this sequence, we're going, right? So, status. To find the status, I have to look at this part, right? Now, tell me, it is a fully flexible or non-flexible? It's a non-flexibilism, isn't it? So it's never going to be known until we see the context. So we just call it, it's either rafa, nasab, or jar. We don't know yet. The status could be anything. It depends on the context. Okay. Now, number is going to be singular. There's no reason for me to call it plural. Okay. I did not give you the meaning of this. I gave you the meaning of things which were plural as well. Know the meaning, and there's no meaning given, assume it's not plural. Okay. So it's going to be singular in this case. Gender. What is the gender? Now, when I look at husna, it ends with alif maksura, which is one of the indications of an ism to be feminine. It's a fake feminine. So we call it feminine, and we call it proper because of this al. Because of this al. Okay? Call it proper because of this al. All right? Any other that troubled you, or anyone else? Any other troubled you? Okay. So anything, let me ask. If there's nothing else, then we should be good. Then we should be good. Just tell me about this one. Let's see if you've done this one right. As-samawati. Skies. So what is the status, number, gender, and type of this one? What is the status, number, gender, and type of this one? As-samawati. So I'm looking at ati ending. Where does ati ending takes me? Where does ati ending takes me? Is it a normal plural? Or is it a human plural? Whenever you see the plural, you should be asking yourself, is it a human plural or is it a non-human plural? Right? You should be mapping it to the charts. So it maps to the Muslimatun chart, isn't it? The feminine Muslim chart. It's like Muslimatin. When I attach an al to it, I cannot give it a double accent, the tanween. So I will make it single accent. Al-Muslimati. This was samawatin, and when al is attached, it became as-samawati. So it maps to the Muslimatun chart, meaning it could be either nasab or jar, to be either nasab or jar, because muslimatun, muslimatin, muslimatin, right? And then it's plural, okay? It maps to the muslimatun chart, correct? So you may think it's plural. That's absolutely fine. It is in fact plural. It says skies. Then we have, I'll come to the plural in a minute. Then it maps to the feminine Muslim chart, right? It maps to the feminine Muslim chart. There's no doubt it's a feminine, and it's a proper because there is an al attached to it, right? But now, when you see a plural, and it's a non-human plural, what number and gender you would attach to it? If it's a non-human plural, what number and gender would you assign to it? Is it going to be plural feminine, or is it going to be singular feminine? Is it going to be plural feminine or singular feminine? Regardless of a non-human plural mapping to the chart or not, you assign singular feminine to the non-human plural. Okay? So it's going to be labeled singular feminine, not plural feminine. Okay? Although it maps to the chart. Yes, that's easy. That's easy because to find the status. Mapping onto the chart is easy to find the status. But for the gender and the number, you have to keep in mind where it falls in terms of it being plural, right? So it's easy to call it plural feminine because it directly maps to the Muslim chart. But keep in mind the plural concept. So if it's a non-human plural, you go and assign it singular feminine, regardless it's broken or not. Okay? Just keep that in mind. All right, good. So let's do one more, and then we'll move on to some more new, fresh topics, inshallah. Okay, let's do number 43. Number 43. Number 43 I'm interested in. Okay. So number 43 should be what? Status. I'm looking at the fatha. I will say it's rafa. Okay. There's no question about it in my mind. It's rafa. Okay. Then I come to number. I have not been given any meaning here. So I'm assuming it's a normal singular, because if there was a meaning given, it could be then it could be broken plural, for example. If it was broken plural, I should have been given the meaning. There's no meaning and there's no translation, so I would just assume it's a singular. So I'd sign it singular. Okay, singular. Okay. Now I'm looking at it in terms of gender. Okay, so it looks like al-muslimu, isn't it? Looks like al-muslimu. Like Muslimun, Musliman, Muslimin, al-Muslimu, al-Muslima, al-Muslimi. So am I going to assign it a masculine gender, or is there a catch here? Yes, Imran, I think you've got it. You've got it. So it's a feminine. It's a feminine. Can anyone tell me why? And it's plural because of the al. Plural because it's not plural. Proper because of the al. It's proper because of the al. This is one of those words that are from your story. It's because the Arabs said so. It's because the Arabs said so. Yeah? It's one of those words. It's in your story. You can go to the story quickly. So the story is somewhere around here. Where is the story? Here's the story. Look. Here. Look here. Rih. Yeah? So it means wind. It means wind. This is part of not because Imran, not because it's non-human, it's not a plural. You think non-human when you're talking about plurals. You don't think non-human if you're not talking about plurals. Okay, the concept of human versus non-human exists in plural. Now, if there's a singular, which is this case, you have to map it to the chart. But yes, also keep in mind these special isms which are just feminine because the Arab said so. We studied in the story, all of these words are feminine because the Arab said so. Yeah. So that one, Arrihu, is feminine because the Arab said so, not because it's non-human. Not because it's non-human. Okay. Good. Excellent. So very well. So let's move on, inshallah. So is there anything troubling you or any other words troubling you? Please let me know. And inshallah, we either do close to the end of the class if we have time, or you can put it on the WhatsApp, inshallah. There is someone will definitely respond, inshallah. Okay, good. So now we're going to start a fresh topic. Now we're going to start a fresh topic. Okay. Let's start a fresh topic on a fresh page altogether. Okay. Go down. Now, what we have been doing so far, we have been looking into the words, individual words. Okay. So we have done words, and we have tried to understand how the properties of those words actually come into practice, how they actually work. Okay. But now we're going to look into another topic, which is called fragments. Fragments. Now, fragments is a topic which is an interesting topic and a very important topic. It's a very important topic. What is a fragment? Good, Imran. Very good. So, what is a fragment? Now, fragment is something. It is something that is more than a word, but less than a sentence. Okay. Fragment is something that is more than a word but less than a sentence. It means we're no longer talking about single words, but we are also not together. We're talking about more than one words together. Okay. So there are 4 fragments. The 4 fragments we're going to do. In fact, we're going to do 5 fragments. 5 fragments overall. Okay. Let me give you those examples. Okay, let me come to the concept of a list of 5 fragments first, but let me explain what that fragment really means. So if I say, for example, let me construct some examples. Now, if I say blue car, or I say green leaf, or if I say tall boy, or if I say ugly duckling, right? Or if I say broken plural. That's a broken plural. Why? A broken plural. Now, what is this car? This car is an ism, isn't it? All of the ones I'm identifying here in yellow are isms, right? Isms. Car, leaf, boy, duckling, plural. And the word that is defining that ism, some characteristic of it, it's called an adjective, right? Blue is an adjective. Blue is an adjective. Green is an adjective. Tall is an adjective. So is the case with ugly and the broken. Yes, you with me on this? Now, this is a set of 2 words. This set of 2 words, but doesn't have to be 2 words. It could be, for example, it could be tall, fast, and tall, fast, handsome boy, for example. be tall, fast, handsome boy. All in this entire thing, boy is an ism. All of the rest are adjectives. They're defining the characteristics of the boy. Okay, they're defining the characteristics of the boy. Okay. Same is the story with examples like we did in the past. Messenger of Allah. Messenger of Allah, or for example, car of Ali. Okay. Day of judgment. Right? All of these things. Now, in this case, this is the off relationship. There's an off relationship here, right? Every time, off relationship here. Okay? Or you could call his book. This is also an off relationship, isn't it? Because we can write it like book of his. Right? In English, it doesn't make sense writing like this, but just to explain you here, book of his, right? Okay. And the other aspects, like other examples, like for example, we can say with with him, or we could say have it, or we could say certainly. Could say certainly Allah. Certainly Allah. Or in fact, that book, this door, all of that stuff. So there's loads of examples I can give you here. Okay? So all of these things, these are not sentences. These are not sentences. These are complete fragments. They're not just one word. They're more than one word, but they're also not full-blown sentences. There is no verb to be in them, for example. There's no action in them, for example. So we'll do sentences later on in detail, but these are all fragments. These are all fragments. Okay. So what is a fragment? It's something which is more than a word, but less than a sentence. It's more than a word, but less than a sentence. When we study fragments, we'll no longer be looking at single word. We're looking at more than one word. Okay. And there are 5 fragments we're going to do. 5 fragments we'll do in this course, inshallah. Okay. And there will be more. There will be more, inshallah, as we move along. So those 5 fragments, let me give you a list of those 5 fragments. So 5 fragments. I don't have to. Okay, 5 fragments that we will do. Okay. There's going to be 6 and 7 one as well, but let's see. Let's stick with 5 for now. Is the first fragment, which is called Mowsoof Sifah. Mowsoof Sifah. Okay. This will completely test how good your properties are. 4 properties of ism. How good are you in identifying the 4 properties of an ism? That's where everything will start to come together, inshallah. Okay. Everything will start to come together. This Mowsoof. Oops, I was writing in Arabic. Mowsoof Sifah. Sifah. This is the first fragment we're going to do, inshallah. Then the other fragment we're going to do is Idafa. Idafa. I'm not telling what each fragment is right now, but I could briefly touch on it, inshallah. But we'll do that in more detail. Okay. Idafa is more like an off relationship fragment. It tells you off relationship. Mowsoof Sifah is more like the first one. Blue car gives you characteristics of an ism. We'll do Mowsoof Sifah, inshallah. And then we'll do harf of jar fragment. Harf of jar fragment. Harf of jar fragment. This is called jar majroor. Don't worry about the terminology as always. I'm just telling you so you know. This will be in on your fingertips, inshallah. Okay. Then we will do harf of nasab. All of this will start to make sense when we do it, okay? Just bear with me, okay? So this is called harf nasab. That's it, harf nasab. And then the last one is going to be pointer word, pointer fragments. This is called ishara. This is called ishara. Ism ishara. Ism ishara. Ism al-ishara. Wait a second. Wa musharun alay. Wa musharun alay. Don't have to remember again and again. I'm just telling you this so you know these are things that exist. They will be inshallah on your fingertips. Okay? Okay? There's a raw missing. Okay? Excellent. Okay? So today we're going to pick up on Mowsoof Sifah. Today we're going to pick up on Mowsoof Sifah as our first fragment. It's an interesting fragment, and immediately it opens up a lot of stuff in the Quran for you. It opens up a lot of stuff in the Quran for you, and it's not difficult. None of these fragments are difficult. None of these fragments. They're all easy. They're all very easy. You will love them, inshallah. Okay? They're all easy. So we'll start with the Mowsoof Sifah fragment. Okay? Any questions so far on this before I start? No, but if there are questions, you can put them on the chat box, inshallah. Okay? So let's start with the first fragment. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Mowsoof Sifah. We do Mowsoof Sifah. Okay? Mowsoof Sifah fragment. Okay? The Mowsoof Sifah fragment. What is a Mowsoof Sifah fragment? Mowsoof Sifah fragment has two parts. It has an ism and it has a sifah of an ism, characteristic of an ism. It has two parts. Okay? It has a Mowsoof. This fragment has two parts. Fragment has two parts. Okay? Part number one is something which is called Mowsoof. Something which is called Mowsoof. Right? Now, Mowsoof is an ism that you are defining. Mowsoof is an ism that is being defined. It's an ism that is being described, not defined. Described is a better word. That is being described. Okay? For example, we did an example of blue car. Okay? Now tell me, in this sentence, blue is a name of a color and car is a name of a car. Okay? Both are isms. Which ism is being described? Is it blue or is it car? Is it blue or is it car? Which ism is being described here? Which ism is being described? What do you think? Blue car is going to be purple, pen going to be red, tomato. Which isms are being described here? Which ism is a characteristic and which ism is being described? That's what I'm after. Can you find that out in this example? Correct. The car is being described. Exactly. The ism being described is car. Okay? Same is the case with pen. Pen is being described. Purple is a characteristic of this ism. Tomato is being described. Red is a characteristic of that ism. Right? So all of these isms which are being described are Mowsoofs. These are Mowsoofs. Mowsoof is an ism that you describe. Okay? It's an ism that you describe. Okay? Now, Sifah. The other part is the Sifah. The other part of this fragment is Sifah. Okay? Correct, Imran. Very good. The other part is the Sifah. which becomes pretty evident now. Sifah. Sifah it's an ism that describes another ism, or Mowsoof. It describes Mowsoof, right? Not Mowsoof, Mowsoof. Okay. Describes Mowsoof. Okay. It's an ism that describes Mowsoof. Let me move everything to the next page, so it's in front of us. Okay, right? All right, okay. So it's an ism that describes another ism. And if you take the same examples, you're right, Imran, you're just right. If you just take the same examples, in this case, you won't have tomatoes, cars, and all of that. You would actually have the other ones. You'll have blue, purple, and pen. We will have blue. Let me change it different color. Blue, purple, and red. Blue, purple, and red are the Mowsoofs. These are defining. These are defining the isms. They're describing the isms, right? These are Mowsoofs. These are not Sifahs. Okay, these are not Sifahs. These are the two characteristics. There are two things that you have in a Mowsoof Sifah fragment. You have a Mowsoof that is an ism that is being described. Okay, and then there is a Sifah, is an ism that describes the Mowsoof. Okay, it describes the Mowsoof. Okay, so to understand this fragment, you need to understand how it is structured in Arabic. And to help you understand, let's take a look at an English example. We said blue car, and we said purple pen, and we said red tomato. Okay. In all of these examples, is Mowsoof coming first or a Sifah coming first? Is Mowsoof coming first or a Sifah coming first? Is an adjective coming first or a noun coming first? Sifah is effectively an adjective, okay? And Mowsoof is a noun from English perspective. But here in blue car, purple pen, red tomato, what is coming first? What is coming first? Sifah or Mowsoof? Sifah or Mowsoof? Sifah, correct. Sifah. So in English, an adjective would always come first. In English, an adjective would always come first, okay? And the noun would always come second. If I change it to car blue, it does not make sense in English, does it? It does not. It does not make sense in English. So the Sifah would always come first in English language. In Arabic, it's other way around. It's other way around. A Sifah would always come second. In Arabic, a Sifah would always come second, and Mowsoof would always come first. Okay? So just some rules you need to remember. Some rules you need to remember. But I'll give you those rules. They're like 3 rules or 4 rules, I guess. Okay? But I can also do this blue, heavy, fast vehicle. Okay? Blue, heavy, fast vehicle. There's a lag. I hope it's fine now. Okay, so what I was telling was, in English language, adjective would always come first, and the noun would always come after, the noun being described. So the Sifah in English would always come first, and the Mowsoof would always come second. In Arabic, it's other way around. the Mowsoof would always come first and Sifah would always come second. You could have multiple Sifahs. You could have multiple Sifahs. For example, you could have blue, heavy, fast vehicle. Blue, heavy, fast are the Sifahs. These are the Sifahs. And then vehicle or a car or whatever you want to call it is a Mowsoof. It's an ism being described, right? So you could have multiple Sifahs attached to only one Mowsoof. You could have multiple Sifahs attached to only one Mowsoof. Just like in English, you have multiple adjectives attached to one noun. So there might be multiple characteristics you're defining. Okay? There are multiple characteristics that are defining the noun, right? You could also have this written differently. You could always have blue, heavy, and for sure. Oh, and for sure. Let me put it different. Blue, heavy vehicle, and for sure fast. Blue, heavy vehicle, and for sure fast. Now, in this case, blue is still a Sifah, heavy is still a Sifah, and fast is still a Sifah, right? Still a Sifah. And vehicle is still a Mowsoof. But they are tolerating the fast and the vehicle. They're not just coming all together all the time. There could be distance between them. So what you see in the middle here is a distance, right? So these and, for, sure, the words that I've written here, this is the distance. This represents the distance. They could tolerate a long distance relationship. They could tolerate a long distance relationship, right? It may not come exactly afterwards, right? So, or exactly together. They may tolerate long distance relationships, okay? So having said all of that, let me summarize all of these in few rules, okay? In few rules for you. Rules for Mowsoof Sifah. Rules for Mowsoof Sifah. You need to remember 4 rules for Mowsoof Sifah in Arabic language. 4 rules for Mowsoof Sifah, okay? And they're pretty common sense, depending upon, as you know English quite a lot already. So the first one, Sifah always comes after Mowsoof. Sifah always comes after Mowsoof. Sifah will never come before Mowsoof, okay? It will never come before Mowsoof. It will always come after Mowsoof. Don't get confused with this example in English, okay? In English, it could happen that fast would come after vehicle, but in Arabic, it would be always before. It would be always before. If I rephrase this sentence, I would say fast and for sure blue heavy vehicle. In this case, blue and heavy would be Sifahs, and so is fast, right? And so is fast. These are Sifahs, and vehicle is coming after. See, the Sifahs are always coming before in this case, and this is a long distance relationship. There are extra words in the middle that are not really related to vehicle, or not really necessarily defining or describing vehicle. So in Arabic, it's other way around. So Sifah would always come after. Sifah would always come after. Okay, Mowsoof, never come before Mowsoof. Okay. Okay. There can be multiple Sifahs. Right? That's a common sense. It could be multiple Sifahs, just like we see in the example above. With multiple Sifahs. Right? That's a rule number 2 you need to remember. Okay. Rule number 3. Mowsoof and Sifah can tolerate long distance relationship. long distance relationship. Okay? They can tolerate a long distance relationship. Okay, just like we see here as well in this example above. Fast is quite far away from vehicle, and there are many extra words in the middle, but still it is a characteristic of vehicle. Whereas blue and heavy are quite close to the vehicle, they don't have any distance between them, and they're quite closely connected, and there's also characteristics. So they could always tolerate a long distance relationship. Okay, just like that. And the fourth one, the three we have done is almost similar to English, other than the first one where Sifah always comes after. In English, it always comes before. Okay, the fourth one, the four properties of both must match. Okay, the four properties of both must match. The Mowsoof and Sifah would have exactly the same four properties. They would have exactly the same four properties. Okay? Any questions so far on this? I'll give you some Arabic examples now, inshallah. Okay? I'll give you some Arabic examples now, inshallah. Okay? Good. Let's do some examples. Let's take these four rules to the next page and we do some examples. Keep these four rules in mind, inshallah, and let's do some examples. Excellent. So I'm gonna write what you read almost every day. What you read almost every day. Okay. Yes, you read this every day. Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. Okay, read this every day. Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. Now, what I want you to do is, I want you to look at Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim. Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim. Just look at these two. Just look at these two. Okay. Now let's do it closely here. So let's do it closely like this. Okay. Now I want to know what are the four properties of the word Ar-Rahman. What are the four properties of the word? Let's do it Ar-Rahim first. Let's do Ar-Rahim first. Let's do Ar-Rahim first. What's happening? Come on. Let's do it like that, okay? So what are the four properties of the word Ar-Rahim? Can you tell me? Rough status, number, gender, type. Status, number, gender, type. What is the status of the word Ar-Rahim? Status of the word Ar-Rahim. Any ideas? Status of the word Ar-Rahim. Would you agree if I say it's jar? It's jar. The status of the word Ar-Rahim. Jar. Okay. Number. Number. Is it a singular or a plural or a pair? Is it a singular, plural, or a pair? What is it? Is it a singular, plural, or a pair? It's singular. There's no reason for me to call it plural. There's no reason to call it pair. It's singular. Feminine or masculine? It's masculine. Proper or common? Proper. Okay, it's proper. All good here. Okay, all good here. These are the four properties of the word Ar-Rahim. Now let's look at Ar-Rahman. Now let's look at Ar-Rahman. Is it jar? Yes, it's jar. Okay. Is it singular? Yes, it's singular. Correct. Is it masculine? Yes, masculine. Is it proper? Yes, proper. Wow, mathematical, right? These are Mowsoof Sifah. Now we know that because Mowsoof always comes first and Sifah always comes after, Ar-Rahman would be a Mowsoof and Ar-Rahim would be a Sifah. Ar-Rahman would be a Mowsoof and Ar-Rahim would be a Sifah. Right? You with me on this? Great, excellent. Now let's go one step further. Let's go one step further. Let's look at the word Allahi. Let's look at the word Allahi. Let's look at the word Allahi. So what is the status of the word Allahi? What is the status of the word Allahi? It's jar, yes. Is it singular? Yes, it's singular. Yes, it's singular. Is it masculine? There's no reason to call it feminine. This word is masculine, okay? This word is masculine. There's no reason to call it feminine. Is it proper? Yeah, it's a proper name. It's a proper name. It's proper. Look. So forget this part. I'm removing the Bismi part. I'm just making it light. I'm not interested in that part right now, okay? So look at this part. Allahi has the same properties as Ar-Rahman. Ar-Rahman has the same properties as Ar-Rahim, okay? So if you pick up these two, Allahi and Ar-Rahman, which one is going to be Mowsoof? Among these two, Allahi and Ar-Rahman, which one is going to be Mowsoof? Which one is going to be Mowsoof? Is it Allahi or Ar-Rahman? Which one is going to be Mowsoof? Take your time. It's okay. Take your time. Take your time. You will not look at Bismillah in the same way again, inshallah. You will not look at the Bismillah in the same way, inshallah. It's so beautiful. It's very mathematical. Allahi is going to be the Mowsoof. Very good, Usman. Allahi is going to be the Mowsoof. Correct. So the ism that is being described. Okay? Allahi is going to be Mowsoof. Correct, Imran. The ism that is being described. Right? Now, because the Mowsoof come afterwards, it has to match the four properties. And then you have Ar-Rahman. Ar-Rahman matches the four properties. And then Ar-Rahim matches the four properties. So these two, Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim, would be the sifas of the word Allah. How do you translate the Bismillah? You say, in the name of Allah, the most gracious and the most merciful, isn't it? In the name of Allah, and then you describe, what characteristics of Allah are most gracious and the most merciful. Two characteristics, Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim. Okay? Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim. So here, Allah, the word Allah is the Mowsoof, and Ar-Rahman is one of the sifas of the word Allah, and Ar-Rahim is another sifa of the word Allah. Oops, sorry. Where did it go? Where did it go? Yeah. Okay. You understand? You understand? It's beautiful. It's fantastic. It's very pleasing to understand all of this. So the first 8 classes that you have spent just learning the properties, it's because you could understand this. Without those 8 classes, learning the properties and doing the drills and not understanding why we are doing what we are doing, here's your answer. This is why you're doing it. This is why you did it. Because you could not understand how the words are playing together without understanding those 4 properties. Now you do. Okay? Now you do. Okay? Excellent. If you just look at Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim, and I don't give you the word Allah, if you just look at Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim, you as a student of Arabic would call Ar-Rahman a Mowsoof and Ar-Rahim a Sifah. Okay? you would call him Ar-Rahman a Mawsoof and Ar-Rahim a Sifah. Okay, because Ar-Rahman is coming first and Ar-Rahim is coming afterwards. In the later classes, when we do advanced studies, you will know how to identify if Ar-Rahim is a Sifah of Allah. Right now, you just know because I'm telling you. Okay, if I give you two Sifas of a Mawsoof, you would probably not be able to map it back to the Mawsoof. You just see the immediate one and then see it. But with practice, inshallah, we'll get there. We'll get there, inshallah. Okay. Now let's look at some other examples. Let me find another example. Let me find another example. Okay. So if I say Rasulun, I say Rasulin Karimin. Karimin. Rasulin Karimin. Okay. Rasulin Karimin. Now let's do the four properties here. Let's do the four properties. Let's do the four properties of Karimin. Okay. What is the status? Jar. It is jar, right? Wait a second. It's creating horrible nightmares for me. Wait a second, guys. Okay. Fine. So it's jar. Rafa is jar. Its number is singular. It is masculine and it's common. It is common, right? Now looking at the word Rasulin, let's do the following. It is jar. It is singular. It is masculine. It is common. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah? You see that? You see that? Yep. Rasulin, Karimin. They both have the same properties. So what is the Mawsoof? Rasulin is the Mawsoof. Rasulin is the Mawsoof. Karimin is the Sifah. Rasulin is the Mawsoof. Karimin is the Sifah. Okay? Let's look at some other examples. Let's look at Narun. Oops. Let's look at Narun Hamiya. Let's look at Narun Hamiya. Hamiyatun. Okay. There's a fatha here. Narun Hamiyatun. Now I'm looking at these two words, and I want to do the Mawsoof Sifah for these two words. Okay. Narun Hamiyatun. I want to do Mawsoof Sifah for these two words. I want to check if they're Mawsoof Sifah or not. Okay. So let's do the four properties. Let's do the four properties of Narun and Hamiyatun. How about Hamiyatun? What is the status? Rafa. What is the number? Singular. Singular. What is the gender? Can you tell me the gender of Hamiyatun? What is the gender of Hamiyatun? That's correct, Imran, but let's verify that by doing the properties. So you will find cases where the words would be looking very similar. One common mistake normally students do As soon as they see two tanweens coming together, the words looking similar, they would just call it Mawsoof Sifah. Sometimes it's not the case. Okay? So it's always good. You're right, they're going to be Mawsoof Sifah here, but it's always good practice to do the four properties. Okay? So it's singular and it's going to be feminine because there is a ta marbuta here, right? There's a ta marbuta here. Okay? Status, number, gender, and type is common. And with the Narun case, it's going to be Rafa. It's going to be singular. Rafa, singular. Feminine. Feminine because the Arab said so. Feminine because the Arab said so. Right? Singular, feminine, and common. Both of them have the same properties. Both of them have the same properties. Yes? You see that? Narun is going to be Mawsoof. It's going to be Mawsoof. And Hamia is going to be a Sifah. Yes, Narun is feminine because the Arab said so. Correct. Correct. So Narun Hamia means an intensively hot fire. Narun is fire and Hamia means intensely hot. Intensely hot. Okay? Intensely hot. Is it clear? Okay, great. So now let's move on to your notes. Let's do some practice over there. A few things I want to tell you. Okay, page number 26. Page number 26. Can you move on to page number 26, please? So you'll have to skip many pages. There are a few topics which are defined earlier in your notes, but I have to skip them. And I've come to the Mawsoof Sifah first because I wanted you to practice your properties on this. This is the first fragment. Okay, so let's see what your note says. Let's see what your note say. So your note says Mawsoof, the primary rules of Mawsoof Sifah. So Mawsoof must be first only one. Okay, this is something I did not tell you. So Mawsoof can just be one at one time, right? So Mawsoof won't be multiple. It's just the Sifah that would be multiple. That could be multiple. Okay, Mawsoof is always one. Always one. So keep that in mind, please. The Mawsoof is always one here. First one and the only one. This is what I'm talking about, right? First one and the only one. Now Sifah must have the four properties. They both will have four properties. Four properties must match. Okay? Not even if one property is not matching, it's not Mawsoof Sifah. It has to match in four properties. Sifah always comes after Mawsoof. Sifah could be more than one, right? It could be multiple Sifahs. And it could come after some distance. It could come after some distance. And we'll practice as we go along and we study more. This is the fragment that will keep on popping up and you will have an implicit practice anyway, inshallah. Okay? The few things you should take note of. The few things you should take note of. So in case of Mawsoof Sifah, a pronoun can never be a Mawsoof Sifah. These things can never be Mawsoof Sifah. Just keep that in mind. So a pronoun can never be a Mawsoof Sifah. Can never be Mawsoof. A pointer will never be Mawsoof. And it's a Mawsool would never be Mawsool. Okay? Meaning, you cannot define a pronoun like he, a blue he, or tall he, or a short he. Okay? You just don't speak like that. It doesn't work, right? It's not common sense. So that's pronoun part. So Mawsoof, you cannot describe pronouns because they're already too described, right? Pointers is like this, that, and so on. Those, you can't describe them as well. These are pointer words. You can't. So they can never become Mawsoofs. Okay? And ism Mawsool is allazi, al-ma, man, and allati, allazina. These things are something that are also never Mowsoof. Just so you know, and inshallah this will become engraved in your mind as you go along and practice. Okay, that's for the Mowsoof. This is the Mowsoof part. Okay, now the Sifah part. For the Sifah is never a proper name. So you would not take Muhammad and describe. You won't say tall Muhammad, for example, or a short Ali. Okay, you would not say that. This is not how a language makes sense, right? So jokingly, you may be saying that, but grammatically, it doesn't mean anything, right? So you don't describe a proper name. You don't describe a proper name. You also don't describe a pronoun. You don't make a proper name a Sifah. You cannot. I'm giving you the wrong example. You can't say. For example, Ali car. For example, Ali car. It's a very weird example. But a car described by a proper name, which is Ali. You could say blue car, yes, but if you say Ali car or Ahmad car, it doesn't make sense. It does not make sense. So you cannot use a proper name to define a Mowsoof, to describe a Mowsoof. Sifah cannot be a proper name. Okay. Same story with pronouns. He, she, it, they, them. It cannot be a Sifah. It cannot be a characteristic of anyone. These pronouns. Okay. And the pointer words as well, like this, that, and so on. They can't be characteristics. It's just common sense. I'm just reminding you. You know that already implicitly, but I'm just making it a bit more highlighted here. Okay? A bit more highlighted here. It's all common sense. Now the third point is look out for non-human plurals, because non-human may not be looking like their Sifah. May not be following the same pattern, because non-human plurals or broken plurals may be looking different. There are a few examples here. For example, if you just do the four properties of these two, al-saghiratu, I can see it's rafa, and then I can see it's singular, and I can see it's feminine because of the ta marbuta here. It's feminine, okay, and it's proper because of the al. Okay, it's proper because of the al. Then I go to al-kutubu. I say it's rafa. Now, what does kutubu means? You know it's a broken plural, right? How do you know? There's a translation. The small books. I'm looking at books. And books map to al-kutubu, right? Al-kutubu, small books. It's a broken plural. So when it's broken plural, I'm going to assign it singular and feminine. It's a non-human, isn't it? It's a non-human broken plural, singular feminine. So as soon as you see the plural, you would just check if it is a human or a non-human. If it is a non-human, you just go and assign a singular feminine. Okay, and it's proper because there is an al attached to it, right? There's an al attached to it. The four properties match. All right. The other example here. Okay. Haqaibu jamilatun. Beautiful bags. Okay. Now haqaibu refers to bags. Beautiful refers to jamilatun. How do I know? Because I know in Arabic Sifah always comes after. And I look at the translation and I say beautiful bags. I know beautiful is Sifah. And bags is Mowsoof. Right? So because beautiful is Sifah, it has to be Jamilatun because it is coming after, right? Sifah can never come before. Okay, that's how I do the mapping. So I know haqa'idu is bags. It's a plural. It's a plural. So I do the 4 properties. I say it's rafa. It's because it's a broken plural and it's also non-human. I'm going to say it's singular and feminine, and I'm going to say it's common. There's no reason for me to call it proper. There's no reason for me to call it proper. Jamilatu, I see ta marbuta here, right? I say it's rafa, and it's singular without any doubts. I don't have any reasons to call it plural. And then it's feminine because of the ta marbuta, and it's common. The 4 properties match. Okay? The 4 properties match. Okay? Is it clear? This is easy. It's really easy. I'm telling you, it's not difficult. It's a very good practice of your 4 properties. It's a very good practice of your 4 properties, inshallah. Okay? Good. So let's do some exercises before we close the class, inshallah. Let's do some exercises. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up on qawlan saqilan. Qawlan saqilan. Can we do 4 properties of qawlan saqilan? The meaning is given to you on the left-hand side to help you understand it. It means a heavy word. A heavy word. Now, if you look at the meaning, only in English, you would find the Sifah is heavy and the word is Mowsoof. The word is Mowsoof. Sifah is heavy and the word is Mowsoof. Okay? That's what you'll find. Now, moving back here to qawlan saqilan. Qawlan saqilan. I want to know the 4 properties of qawlan and saqilan. Who can help me? Let's do the 4 properties. Starting with the qawlan. Okay? The first word is qawlan. So starting with the qawlan. So I found qawlan. I say, okay, it's nasab. It's nasab for me. It looks like nasab. Yes. And it is singular. There's no reason for me to call it plural. I've even looked at the translation. It's not plural. Okay. And it's masculine. No reason to call it feminine. And it's common. No reason to call it proper. Okay. Then I come to saqilan. It's nasab. Right? It's singular. Right? It's masculine. And it's common. So is it a Mowsoof Sifah? Yes, it is a Mowsoof Sifah. Okay? It's a Mowsoof Sifah. So from the translation, from the mapping of the translation, I know from the mapping of the translation, I know in Arabic Mowsoof and Sifah comes second. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to map the word of English all the way to qawlan of Arabic. Right? And I'm going to map saqilan of Arabic all the way to the word heavy of English. Okay? That's what I'm going to do. Okay? Because in English, Sifah comes first and the Mowsoof after. In Arabic, Mowsoof comes first and Sifah after. All right? This is very interesting and easy. It should not trouble you, inshallah. Should not trouble you. You guys are already property experts. I mean the ism property experts. You should be fine with it, inshallah. Let's look at this example. At-tammatu al-kubra. Okay. The translation says the greatest calamity. The greatest calamity. Okay, that's the translation. The greatest calamity. Okay. Now there's something calamity which we are describing. How is it? It's greatest. So calamity is a Mowsoof. Oops. Calamity is Mowsoof. And greatest is Sifah. Mowsoof and Sifah. Okay. Moving on to this part, let's try to do the properties. Starting with the first one, at-tammatu. So it looks to me this is rafa. It is going to be singular. It is going to be feminine. Why feminine? Because there's a ta marbuta here, right? There's a ta marbuta here. It's feminine. And it's proper because there's an al here. It's proper because there's an al here. Okay? Then I come to al-kubra. Al-kubra, I don't know the status of al-kubra. Okay, let's leave the status for a while. Let's leave the status for a while because I don't know. It's non-flexible. It's non-flexible and I don't know yet. Okay, let's do the other properties first. I'll come to the status and tell you. Okay? Now, is it singular or plural? It's singular. There's no reason for me to call it plural. Okay, the meaning is greatest. Okay, the translation says it means greatest. It's not even plural translated, right? Is it masculine or feminine? Is it masculine or feminine? Now I'm looking at the possibility of it being a fake feminine. It is not Isa. It is not Musa. The meaning it says it's greatest. There is no reason to call it masculine because the fake feminine is that it ends with a alif maksura, right? Ends with a alif maksura. So I'm going to call it feminine. Okay, feminine. Common or proper? There is an alif al before it, so it's going to be proper. Now, what I'm going to say here is look here very carefully. Now, all of the properties are matching. We just don't know the status. I've always been telling you so far, context is going to tell you the status, didn't I? Context, status. So here's the context for you. Okay, the context is it has a Mowsoof that has rafa as a status. Now you don't have an answer to al-kubra for the status. Now listen, if it could be, it is. If it could be rafa, it is rafa. Okay, the Mowsoof is indicating to you that I'm completely matching you. It's just the status that is you are unsure of. Because I'm rafa, you should also be rafa. You should also be rafa. This time you deduce this rafa by looking at the context. By looking at the context. This rafa is coming because of this rafa. Okay? This rafa is coming because of this rafa. Okay? Because the Mowsoof is rafa and you didn't know if al-kubra could be rafa or not, then you make it rafa. If it could be, it is. Okay? Just remember this. If it understand? So the context helps you derive the status in case of non-flexible isms. If you don't know the status, the context will help you derive that status. All right? Any questions? All right, so I think we're quite above time. Let me see if there's something I should. Okay, give me a sec. Okay. So how about you guys go and just complete this exercise at home, inshallah. It's just this page 26. Just complete this exercise and we'll discuss any trouble troubling parts tomorrow in the class. If you have any problems, just drop line on the WhatsApp, inshallah. Okay, but it should be fine. You should be fine, inshallah, with this. Okay, there's nothing scary about Mowsoof Sifah. Mowsoof Sifah is one of the fragments that you will start to like. It's one of the fragments that you will really love, inshallah. So just do your best. Do your best, inshallah. You already know properties, and it's just about finding the properties. It's just about finding the properties. And once you know what the properties are and how to deduce them, inshallah, it will be fine. Just make sure if you don't know the status and context of a Mowsoof tells you that it is Rafa, Nasab or Jar, then the Mowsoof would become Rafa, Nasab or Jar. Okay, that's how you use the context to identify the status. Okay, so inshallah, I'll see you tomorrow. Don't give up. Stay tuned. Arabic is going to become very interesting going forward, because now you're outside of the single word study and you're doing multiple words now. So don't give up. Just stay with me. Bear with me. Inshallah, there's a lot of excitement to come, and it will open up so much Quran for you. We'll do the mapping to the Quran, inshallah, as well. Okay. So, inshallah, Jazakallahu khairan, and I'll see you tomorrow. Until then, stay safe, and inshallah, I'll see you tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.